Hey, today I thought in our gradeless journey we would talk a little bit about how to communicate this information. So, for many students and many parents, gradeless will be something that is fairly new to them. And especially because it's not how they were taught in school, there may be some resistance to it. So, if you have a parent in the academic community, sometimes it works out to your advantage because maybe they've heard of gradeless or maybe they've seen gradeless. I've had students that are have parents in the like academic world in colleges and universities. They really appreciate the gradeless stuff because that kind of mimics more of the real world experience they're seeing. Some elementary parents really enjoy it because they feel that the gradeless is more focused on the process instead of the final product, and that kind of emulates a bit more of what they've seen in elementary, so it lines up a bit better there. But I can understand that there's a lot of anxiety about how to pitch this to parents and students, when to pitch this to parents and students, and that kind of stuff. I have found that the most successful delivery of it happens when you kind of slide it in, but don't really talk about it as your like big forefront thing. So in my like online classroom, I use Brightspace for mine. So I'll have like a gradeless tab, and then I'll have a bunch of pieces of information about the gradeless system. So, for example, some pedagogy supporting, like with an outline. So, I'll always do like a letter to parents kind of explaining my pedagogy and a letter geared for students explaining my pedagogy. So, those digital letters can sometimes be sent out with your like welcome to my class message if you're in a virtual online space. Sometimes those can be handed out in like an actual like paper hard copy version if your school is doing that. I've done that in the past. So basically, I will include the information out of the gate, but I don't actually talk about it out of the gate. So what I'll do is I'll include like a letter talking to parents about gradeless. A couple of key things that I find work really well is that focus that gradeless is not mean no assessment. Gradeless does not mean no feedback. It just means you're not giving them non-numerical feedback. You're focusing on skill development. You're focusing on mastering of skills. You're focusing on growth. And so it actually fits the whole idea of in Ontario, we are supposed to do like most recent, most consistent. We're supposed to base it off of observations and conversations we have with the students and the products. And so it kind of works really well with actually what the assessment strategy is trying to get to. So if you tell parents that you are still giving your student feedback, you're giving them multiple opportunities to show their best and brightest work, and you're giving them multiple opportunities to grow and show you that growth development. That really helps. I find that flipping it back and giving the example that most parents and students will have to do a performance appraisal as part of their job. So most people have at some point in the year a meeting with their boss. Unless you're the boss, then you don't have that experience. But a lot of people will have a meeting with their boss and they'll talk about, for example, goals for the future, what they did well this year, what they can work and improve on. And then that's when you're starting to ask for bonuses, salary changes, raises, promotions, that kind of stuff. So this gradeless system, because at midterms and finals, I'm legally obligated to give kids numbers. So at midterms and finals, I have the kids produce a document and I say, here's the benchmark skills we're working on. Where do you feel like you sit currently against those skills, and give me a number you think you deserve? And so this is actually like almost exactly the process they'll go through when they're asking for raises and stuff like that. And so this is actually even better because now we're giving girls a chance to practice this, because there is evidence that the wage gap exists because females don't advocate for themselves in terms of asking for raises like men do. So this is a great way to get the wage gap closed. This is a great way to model real world experiences, and also a great way to kind of bring it into a context that parents can understand. So I'll give this information out to students. I'll let them poke around with it. And then maybe after the first assessment comes back at the end of the first week or into the second week, then as a class, I'll open the floor to students and I'll say, okay, so you may have heard we're doing this gradeless thing. Any questions about how this works? And then I'll just kind of bank like a half hour to have just like an open, honest conversation with kids, give them pros or cons. Don't give them invitation to change the process, but give them opportunities to like ask questions about the process. That's kind of, I think, the biggest thing is that don't make it seem like the kids can change your mind, but do give them the opportunity to kind of ask questions and feel a bit more comfortable with them, and tell them that because it's new, it may not sit comfortably until after midterm, and we're feeling good and we're kind of running with it. So that's my biggest advice for gradeless is slide that information out secretly. I'll link some of my examples here, and then to have an open and honest conversation.